Welcome back to the deep dive. So, our mission today, we're taking this pretty dense stack of police reports and boiling it down. We want to find those, really fascinating little nuggets of information, the kind that makes you the most interesting person at the local coffee shop.
That's the plan.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're heading north this week, right into Langlade County. We're covering the Antigo area.
Antigo. Gotcha.
Exactly. And, the surrounding countryside, too, including the roads going out towards Elko.
And the time frame we're looking at is pretty specific, right? Wednesday, October 15th through the next Wednesday, the 22nd.
Yep, one packed week.
And really, if you think life's quieter out in the country, well, these reports kind of show that small town drama. It hits different.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
There's an amazing snapshot, isn't it? You see the local police juggling everything. I mean, neighbor feuds that have been simmering for ages, serious family stuff, and then just bam, smacking into wildlife.
It's a real mix.
It really is. It's like walking a tightrope between, the totally mundane and the absolutely wild.
So over the next few minutes, we're going to get into some of this. There was a big accident, a vehicle hitting a building.
Yeah, pretty serious one.
And the whole fallout from hitting a bear on the highway, which sounds intense. And what you've called the Great Pig Wars of Langlade County.
The pigs definitely make an appearance. It escalates.
Okay, let's unpack this then. Where do we start? Maybe the night shift. Seems like a lot happens when most folks are asleep.
Well, yeah, looking at the early reports, you see this constant quiet hum of activity around the Langlade County Safety Building on Claremont Street.
Mm-hmm.
That's clearly the hub, even at like 3 in the morning.
Mm-hmm.
Officers checking in, routine patrols.
Right, the base of operations. And it's funny how these logs show something starting off sounding maybe scary, but then it's nothing. Like that thing on Neva Road, Aldous, about 1:52 a.m. Suspicious activity.
Exactly. Classic example. The report mentions a delivery truck, someone digging around in the dumpster.
Mm-hmm.
Your first thought might be theft, maybe vandalism. Sure. But no, the officer talks to the person. Turns out they were just looking for boxes. And boom, coded 10-2.
10-2, which, just so everyone knows, basically means all clear, right? Situation resolved.
Correct. And the fact it was coded 10-2 so fast tells you it went from, suspicious to, just grabbing some cardboard almost instantly. No big drama.
Okay, but then contrast that with Friday morning. Over on Avenue and Arctic Street, the call mentioned individuals dressed in black running from an officer. Now that sounds like something's going down.
Yeah, that definitely perks up your ears. Sounds like a foot chase, maybe?
You're picturing flashlights sweeping around, maybe sirens.
But the reality, perfectly Antigo, as you said, it was just a guy picking up his coworker for their shift.
Seriously?
Running.
Well, maybe running because it was cold, or, maybe they just didn't want to get stopped and chat with the officer that early. Just wanted to get to work.
Huh. That happens a lot, doesn't it? Locals just trying to avoid getting logged, even if they aren't doing anything wrong.
Pretty common, yeah. Okay, but who wins the award for taking up the most officer time this week? Got to be that drunk pedestrian saga Saturday morning, right? Fifth Avenue.
Oh, that one, yes. It starts simple enough. A guy refusing to leave a bar. Standard disorderly conduct call.
Right.
But what's really interesting is just how much effort went into dealing with this one person. The first time, an officer actually helps the guy, the 1056, the impaired pedestrian, get home safely.
Which is nice. Community policing, right. Get him home, tucked in, problem solved.
You'd think so. The officer probably thought, okay, done with that.
But
nope. A little while later, another call comes in. Same guy. He'd apparently gone back to the bar, got quicked out again, and was seen walking down Fifth Ave.
No way. He made a round trip after getting a police escort home.
He did. Impressive dedication, maybe? Not advisable, but impressive.
Wow. Just think about the resources, the officer time that one person soaked up in just a few hours. It really shows how a seemingly minor call can just keep bouncing back.
It does. And it highlights something about policing in a smaller town. You can't just pass the problem along. That same person, that same issue, it's probably going to land right back on your plate moments later.
Yeah.
You got to deal with the loop.
Okay, so moving from the late night loops to daytime drama. Segment 2, small town friction.
Yeah.
And nothing brings that out like neighbor problems making it into the police log.
We saw a couple of pretty telling harassment complaints this week. They show how these local grudges can just stick around. Like the one on Fifth Avenue that got reopened. It was about a neighbor swearing, but also specifically honking a truck horn.
Honking a truck horn? That's such a specific, annoying tactic for neighbor warfare. So what happened?
Well, the report says officers just advised both sides to knock it off. stop contacting each other.
Ah, the classic small-town solution. Just try to ignore each other and hope it goes away.
Pretty much. But sometimes it's deeper than just honking. On Monday, there was another harassment complaint, this one on North Avenue. Yelling, threats. But it was specifically tied to a child support filing.
Oof. Okay, so that's when the really personal stuff, money, family history, starts spilling over into public safety calls.
Exactly.
And sometimes it goes way beyond yelling and honking. It becomes a real crisis. Which brings us to, well, you said this is where it gets really interesting. Tuesday, Wildwood Lane, the domestic disturbance.
Yeah, that one was serious. It involved a son, intoxicated, reportedly belligerent, throwing things around.
Okay.
And the reason, the core conflict was really tough. He was angry because his parents had apparently taken away his prescribed medication.
Why would they do that?
Because he'd recently gotten an OWI, an operating while intoxicated charge. So they removed the meds, likely out of concern, and he reacted very badly.
Wow, that's a tangled mess for everyone. You've got intoxication, medication issues, family tension, and the fallout from a previous criminal charge all blowing up in one house. It really shows how past incidents just keep echoing, causing new problems.
It's incredibly difficult. You can see the frustration and maybe fear on both sides. The parents trying to manage safety, the son feeling controlled and reacting violently. These calls are just so volatile.
Okay, let's shift gears a bit. From family chaos inside the house to, well, chaos with cars outside.
Yeah.
Because the vehicles in Lenglet County definitely had a starring role this week.
They certainly did. Starting maybe on the lighter side, Thursday, police were trying to track down a tan Malibu, reportedly doing donuts in the park over on Hickory Street.
Donuts in the park. Classic small-town trouble. Right. Annoying for sure, but probably not the crime of the century.
Right, relatively low stakes. Compared to Saturday, anyway. That was a major accident injuries call on Superior Street. A vehicle actually hit a building.
Hit a building. Okay, that's serious.
Very. They had to divert traffic. The driver ended up getting cited for failing to yield.
Wow. Think about the response needed for that. Police, ambulance, maybe fire department checking the building structure. That's a huge jump from donuts in the park to potentially taking out a wall.
It really is. The resource drain is immediate and significant.
And then for just pure concentrated frustration, Tuesday's lockout report, keys locked on a car in the home.
Not just any car. A running loaner vehicle.
Oh, no. That's somehow worse, isn't it?
Way worse. You're stranded? Sure. But it's not even your car. It's running. You can't get in, and you know you've got to explain this to the dealership. That's just peak inconvenience.
Absolutely brutal. We also saw kind of two different flavors of public disruption this week, didn't we?
Yeah, interesting contrast. There's the trespass call at Walmart, State Road 64, someone panhandling.
Okay, pretty standard retail issue.
Right, enforcing private property rules.
Yeah.
But then you also had that disorderly conduct protest downtown, Fifth Avenue and Superior. People were actually blocking traffic.
So one is sort of passive annoyance, the other is actively stopping things.
Exactly. The panhandlers handled relatively simply. The protest blocking a major intersection. That needs active management, making sure traffic can move, keeping everyone safe. Police dealing with both ends of that spectrum pretty much simultaneously.
All right, enough human drama for a minute. Let's talk animals. Segment 3, the County Wildlife Report. And anybody who lives around Antigo knows the animal reports. They can definitely steal the show.
Oh, the volume of animal calls this week was significant. And not just squirrels and raccoons.
No kidding. We had the big one. Sunday, accident animal report, US 45 and Huggins Road. Not a deer this time.
Nope. A vehicle hit a bear. A full-grown bear. The report confirms the bear was deceased in the ditch afterward.
Wow. The impact to kill a bear, that had to be massive. Major damage to the car, I assume.
Almost certainly. And incredibly dangerous for the driver. That's easily a near-death situation. Plus, dealing with removing a large animal carcass from a major highway like 45. That involves the DNR, coordination. Yeah. It's a whole process.
Okay, so from a giant bear down to tiny kitten. We had the kitten rescue too, right? Thursday, Marty's Shell on Superior Street.
Yes. A much sweeter story, though still high stakes for the kitten. It was stuck up in the engine compartment of a Silverado.
Oh, dear. How'd they get it out?
The Antigo Fire Department actually came to help, which is pretty great, right? Firefighters using their skills to rescue a tiny animal from a big V8 engine shows the variety of the job.
That's a nice bit of teamwork. Okay, but the real animal drama, the one that spanned multiple days, we have to talk about the pigs, the Great Pig Wars, as you called it.
Huh. Well, it certainly escalated like a war. It's such a perfect example of, the challenges of rural law enforcement. Started Monday over on Elm Road. Complaint, Neighbors' pigs keep getting loose, rooting up the yard, making ruts.
Standard enough farm country complaint. What happened first?
Owner gets a talking to. A verbal warning. Yeah. Fix your fence, keep your pigs contained.
Okay, seems reasonable. Warning issued, problem solved.
Apparently not, because Tuesday, the pigs were back. Different location this time, Klein Road. Found rooting around in someone else's front yard.
The escape artists strike again, so what happened the second time?
This is where it gets interesting. The officer gives another warning, probably sterner this time, about the bad fencing. But crucially, the officer also advises the person whose yard was being damaged about their right to protect their property if the pigs kept causing destruction.
Whoa, hang on. The officer told the resident they could potentially take action against the pigs themselves.
Essentially, yes. Advise them of their right to protect their property.
That feels like a big deal. How is that different from, say, a dog digging up your flowers in the city?
It's very different. In town, it's tickets. Animal control, maybe. Out here, when livestock repeatedly damages property due to owner negligence. The report shows the conversation shifting towards the property owner's right to stop the damage, potentially forcefully. It really highlights how property rights, especially agricultural ones, are viewed differently in rural jurisdictions. It's definitely high-stakes gossip.
High stakes tea indeed. And look, we can't talk Langlade County wildlife without mentioning the deer. The deer toll was high this week too, wasn't it? Lots of car versus deer incidents.
Yeah, several. And not just minor bumps. The DNR had to be called to dispatch 2 deer that were badly injured. One on County Road F needed a 9mm round, which is, well, a stark detail, but necessary sometimes.
And the cars took a beating.
Oh, yeah. A black Volkswagen on State Road 64 and Western Avenue. Not drivable after hitting a deer. And even a big truck. A 2022 Ram 2500 was disabled on Wednesday after hitting one on 64 near 5th Avenue. Serious bumper damage.
That's not just a cracked headlight, that's major repairs, insurance claims.
Exactly. It's just a constant financial risk living that close to wild areas. A deer hit can easily total a car. Way more costly than most neighbor squabbles.
Okay, let's wrap things up. Final segment.
Yeah.
Looking at some scams, some trespassing, and maybe the quieter, odder moments in the log.
Right. Financial fraud is always lurking. We saw 2 fraud theft reports this week. One was particularly nasty. Someone got scammed out of money trying to rent a house. The listing was fake.
Oh, that's awful. You're planning a move, maybe putting down a deposit, and it's all just gone to a fake rental.
It's heartbreaking. And it really undermines that sense of trust you sometimes find in smaller communities. You still have to be so careful, verify everything.
Yeah, absolutely. And speaking of property, back to trespassing, the Wolf River call. Sunday, River Road.
Ah, yes. People driving a white Chevy Tahoe right through someone's private property. To get to the Wolf River to go hunting.
Not okay. What was the resolution?
Pretty straightforward. Officers told them firmly, use the public DNR access points, don't drive across private lands. It's a constant issue, especially around hunting season. Access rights versus property rights.
And on the less criminal side of things, sometimes a suspicious activity call is just life. Like the one on 5th Avenue and Duresh Street.
Yes, that one resolved nicely.
Yeah.
Investigated, and it turned out to be just 2 women venting about men.
Perfectly harmless. Just needed a place to talk, I guess. Good thing the officers checked, but kind of funny.
Totally harmless. Just documenting local emotional expression. And we can't forget the accidental 911 calls. Always a few gems there.
What were the highlights this week?
Well, there was the classic 911 hang-up from a fax line going haywire on County Road D. Happens all the time.
Right.
But my favorite was the Thursday call. He was caused by a dog, apparently knocked a phone off a table, and the fall activated the SOS emergency mode.
A dog accidentally called 911. That's amazing. A canine-initiated police report.
You got it.
So, looking back at the whole week, man, we've covered everything from a death investigation way out on Borth Lake Road, which we didn't even get deep into, down to just defective headlamps, and, of course, the pig logistics.
It really raises a key question, doesn't it? What does this whole collection of incidents tell us about daily life here?
Yeah. What's the takeaway?
I think it shows that even in a place people think of as peaceful, maybe even sleepy, the police are dealing with this incredible constant stream of unpredictable events. From the genuinely tragic or dangerous, like the accidents, down to the utterly bizarre, like the pig escapes or the neighbor feuds. It leads me to the moral of the week.
Okay, let's hear it.
The moral is this. You can take the person out of the woods, but you can't take the wild out of Langlade County.
Ha! I like that. It feels earned. after reviewing this week's report. So what does this all mean for you listening in?
Well, the sheer density of it all, the pig wars, the guy going back to the bar, the car hitting the building, it just proves that life, even in Antigo, is anything but 10-2. It's rarely all clear.
Yeah.
So maybe think about your own area. How many little dramas, big and small, play out every day that never make the headlines? From loose animals to fender benders to loud arguments, it all goes into that local report, keeping the wheels turning.
That's a great point. Well, thanks for diving deep into the reports with us today.
I touch her.
We'll catch you next time for another deep dive into the sources.